Hello, welcome into the PHNX Cardinals halftime show. I'm Johnny Venable, Frank Sanders, Damian Anderson. Somehow, despite a plethora of turnovers, the Arizona Cardinals have a 17-14 home lead over the visiting LA Chargers. And thanks to the return of one Kyler Murray and a little bit of Hollywood Brown, DA, this offense is starting to take strides en route to hopefully a Cardinal victory.
Hold on now. You got to give the running back some love, Johnny.
Well, wait a minute.
JC got 12 for 65, and I think it's a fumble, but I think it's that balance. And we've seen Kyler that last series where they were able to get to score before halftime. You like what you see both sides of the football. Defense got to be a little bit more stout. Frank, I know that you're going to talk about we can't do that zone type of defense against this team. You got to be aggressive.
Yeah.
No, it's been honestly, man. I'm kind of excited. When we first came out defensive wise, I thought we had their number, and then of course they, like any good offensive team in the NFL, they figure a couple things out. We've been playing some zone defense in the second quarter, almost to the third half of the first quarter, almost to the second quarter. We've been playing a lot of zone. I don't like that defensive wise. It's kind of taking pressure off Herbert, but they've been making some plays. This is kind of what we expected. Both teams are kind of evenly matched in a lot of ways, 5-5, 4-7. So we're trying to figure this thing out. But look, I'm excited about what I'm seeing the first half of the Arizona Cardinals. Running game, I was definitely impressed with. James Conner brought the wood. We changed up a little bit, started getting in the passing game, lost our way a little bit, but we found our way in the back end. And look, now we're 17-14 going into the second half.
Well, let's talk about the run game, and specifically Marcus references it in the chat. That 4th and 1 was a terrible play call. Being up at the end of the half is positive, and I'm with you. Had the Cardinals taken a deficit into the locker room, you would have been able to point to that play call and just say, Cliff, what the hell are you doing? Now you can still say that. The read option on 3rd and 1, Kyler keeping it, I don't mind that. But then you got to go right back to James Conner the very next play. James Conner, as you mentioned, DA, 12 for 67. The Cardinals as a team, listen, 20 for 110. It's their highest halftime rushing total this season. And you have to think they saw something on tape. We talked about it watching the game, DA, like Khalil Mack, 52, once a great player, looks a little slow, and you're able to get on the edge because you've got Beachum and Josh Jones playing good tackle. I think the Cardinals need to continue to lean into that run game, because what it does is it allows Kyler Murray then to operate off of play action, Hopkins and Hollywood Brown to kind of do their thing. We even saw a catch from Robbie Anderson. But the run game, to me, if they're going to win this game, they have to continue to pound number 6.
Johnny, it's all about balance. And when you have the ability to run the ball, and they think they're doing a great job with it, like an influence bounce run play. We saw that early on with James Conner. But what that does, we've heard so much about too deep, and the inability to throw the ball deep. But what running the ball successfully does, it makes that safety pay attention, come up, and then you could get over the top. And we've seen effective plays, as you mentioned, the 21-yarder to Hop. Obviously, Hop on that cross with the score. He hit that trigger button on the PS5, hit that spin move and scored. But this team is playing well. It's expected, right? They're 5-5. Cardinals are 4-7. So you expected it to be, a football game, and Cardinals are playing as they should, where it's a game that they, we think about that they should win. So I'm excited where they're at. They get the ball back after the half, so let's go Cards.
Well, I have a question for you, Frank Sanders. So the Cardinals turned it over twice in the first half. The Chargers didn't turn the ball over at all. Do you think it's sustainable right now, 17-14, for the Cardinals to lose the turnover battle and still win the game? Do you think they have to force a turnover on the Chargers to win?
I don't think so. We got to stop turning the ball over. Right. Absolutely. That's one. And then, but number 2, we get a little more pressure on the quarterback. We got 2 sacks. They have none. That would be definitely absolutely perfect. Saul, you're absolutely right. I messed up. I will definitely change that situation. But
here's what Frank said. I'm going to give Frank a pass. Frank sets his alarm to remember it's time for the halftime show. He did it for the post-game show last week. That's a man who's got attention to detail, unlike Cliff Kingsbury.
Or a disability.
No. Cliff Kingsbury does not have an attention to detail. Frank Sanders does. I want to make note of that. But what do you guys assess from Cliff? I consider this very much a must-win. I think every game is a must-win. We're going into the bye. I don't think Cliff was particularly great in the first half. Sure, the Cardinals put up 17 points. But, Frank, what did you see from him? where he could be better, or maybe some positives that you like?
Look, I think Saul said it in the chat, run the damn ball. Like, I mean, that you see right now, that is the answer right now.
Yeah.
It's setting up for the deep pass. We've missed Hollywood Brown twice. And unfortunately, but in reality, that's changing the defense to offset the too high coverage that they've been playing.
Yeah.
It brings another guy in the box, and we got guys that got speed. And so I think if he can just kind of run the ball a little bit more, be aggressive with that, clock management, keep them off the field, I'm okay with that. But I will note this, though, guys. We're watching a lot of we're able to note that we're seeing different formations and different stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
2 tight ends running a counter on a trap on the backside. That's something we haven't seen all year. We got Max Williams and your boy Trey McBride doing that. That's pretty special. So I think if he just kind of got to clean it up a little bit more. One of the guys in the chat said it earlier. Our passing game looks kind of out of sorts a little bit right now, and maybe that's just because guys are still getting in rhythm. Hopefully that is the change. But I expect more in the second half, and I expect a deep ball to be caught for a touchdown here or there.
Guys, I like everything that Cliff has done with the exception of that fourth series and that third where he was going to Kyler and they tried to go at 4th and 1, that pass that was intercepted. Other than that, I mean, 17 points and a half, and they've given up, roughly 22 points a game. So if he can do that, repeat that in the second half, that's a winning formula. It doesn't matter if you're turning the ball over, you just got to score points. And I think that's what the Cardinals need to do. And we've seen that with that balance, the ability to run the ball with James Conner. Kyler has been opportunistic with his ability to run the ball. And then obviously the passes when you need them, finding guys like Robbie Anderson, obviously D-Hop being D-Hop. And, that's the game plan right now, and it's working. But defense cannot allow this Chargers offense to get going.
Well, and Austin Eckler has 2 carries for 5 yards. You would assume that's going to change in the second half. The Cardinals, I believe, get the ball first, which is great to see. Yeah. But the Chargers, this is playing into the Cardinals' hands. This is what they envisioned for their team all season long. It was a run-and-shoot offense that got out to leads and then forced the other team to be one-dimensional and try to force turnovers as a result. And what we saw on Monday Night Football was the complete opposite.
Correct.
The 49ers got up on the Cardinals and then stomped a mud hole in their ass by running the football. And the Chargers can run the football effectively. It's up to, and we've said this all season, as much as we bang on the defense and Vance Joseph and company, this is an offensive-led team. And the offense has to be humming for the defense to play complementary football. The defense is not built to play without a lead, in my opinion. And so if you don't concede the lead in the second half, knock on wood, then the defense can pin their ears back. I thought Cameron Thomas played really well. J.J. Watt looks good.
Myjai Sanders.
Zach Allen getting pressure.
Yeah, it's like
a host of cards.
Dennis Gardeck, Marcus Golden, take a seat. Let's play these young outside linebackers. My only concern is you started to see Justin Herbert, who I think finished the half 11 for 11, heat up. Frank, what do they have to do to slow him down?
Look, they got to figure out, let's stop playing so far deep in the zone, put a little more pressure on the receivers up front. They got Allen. They got guys that are not burners. They're not going to run by you. So you got to realize that Eckler is one of the main focuses of their offense. They're not like tight end heavy like we've seen in the past, guys. So that's a good thing, which is beautiful. And they're not really running play action. They're keeping Justin in the pocket. So defense keep him in the pocket. DBs come up and play a bit more pressure. And outside of that, man, just be mindful that you can't give it the deep ball. I think that's important.
I think the most refreshing thing, DA, is the offense. It doesn't look like we're pulling teeth to pick up yards, to pick up first downs. Right. It looks like it's coming easy again. Whether or not that's the arrival of Hollywood Brown, of course, K1 coming back. This, outside of the interception, this is the best Kyler has looked in probably 4 to 6 weeks, I think, since maybe the Saints game. And I also think just the comfort level of playing at home. The Chargers don't have a ton of fans here. It's this is a game we should control. We should win.
But, guys, this shit isn't rocket science. They've been able to rush the football. Yeah. And that does wonders for your offense. It puts everyone at ease. And, I mean, we've talked about this makeshift offensive line. And Cliff found ways to run the ball. And James Conner, just his second effort, unfortunately, he had that early fumble, but he responded, came back, breaking tackles. He's been the heartbeat of this team. And then when you're able to run the ball with this makeshift offensive line, it makes everyone feel that more confident in that whatever we do is going to work. And we've seen that throughout this offense in that first half.
Nightingale Sunset. I don't think it's so much about keeping the lead. It's about keeping the momentum. Of course, they let that overturn get to them. I agree with that. They hung their heads after that, and then they let the score happen. They have to be resilient. I think they will be. The Cardinals have lost 3 of 4, but the Chargers are not playing good football either, and it's getting into them. They lose close games week after week to the Niners, to the Chiefs. The Cardinals need to play on that. This is a very winnable game for Arizona, and not to get too far ahead. after the bye, a bunch of winnable games. You take it one step at a time. The most important thing to remember, though, folks, is we will be back here immediately following the conclusion of Chargers at Cardinals. In the meantime, like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports on YouTube, and we will see you after the game.